holding mics. Well, what a treat to see Muddy Track on a screen, I can't say. What a great film.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you know, it's definitely inside look at what was going on out there. I hope you enjoyed that part of it.
I think it's such a great film. I'm very lucky. I got to see Muddy Track about, well, almost 20 years ago. And I got to say, in my memory, it was kind of darker and more harsh in a way. And now I found it, well, still dark, but very funny. And
yeah,
you're funny. So it's a funny film. It's funny in that way of like Oscar Wilde said, life is far too important to be taken seriously. And I feel that kind of thing from you, but I love this film.
Well, you know, thanks. When I looked at it, I was having a good time, and we had a good time making it, and Otto was, you know, gave everything he had. He didn't have much, but he gave all of it.
I love when you're on stage and Otto's on an amp or something fairly early on.
Yeah.
You say, no, just stay there, Otto. Stay there.
I got to kind of relate to Otto as kind of a pet, you know, kind of like a dog or something. So it made it easy, and he responded really well.
He couldn't go to McDonald's.
No, he couldn't go. I don't know why I went, but he couldn't go. Should have taken a hint from him, I think.
I don't know how much just to talk about this film or what, because it's really such a great thing to have this program of Bernard Shakey's films here. And wow, thanks to the IFC for this, just as a fan, because this guy, Mr. Shakey, he's really an amazing filmmaker.
Wow.
He's disappearing.
He's not coming out.
He's not.
He would, but he's not coming out.
Well, Mr. Shakey, wherever he is
great to work for him. Great. Great to work for you, Bernard.
I love the theme music over the Shakey logo too. Where did that?
Is that on this one? Is it that?
Yes.
Great. Great. Yeah, I like that. That's Jack Nietzsche. Nietzsche scored that. Yeah. We did 6 different versions and chose that version.
Wow, that's fantastic. The whole Shakey logo is great. But I love Mr. Shakey's films. My favorites really are Muddy Track, and I really love. Well, I think I like them all. You know, I don't know. I don't have really a favorite, but.
Go ahead, Jim. They're like children. They just, you know, you talk about them.
I love Greendale, and I love Muddy Track very much. I love how they look, you know. So but I like all these films. You're really an amazing filmmaker. I'm really excited to see Human Highway, a new version or an altered version, which I haven't seen. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, that was great. It only took like 35 or 40 years to do. They have to age. They age these films. They do. They really do. You know, you've made some great films, and it's just a lot of fun to watch this. And I like the thing. I don't know what I was doing, but I think I was zooming and pulling back. Yeah. And I was having fun with that. I discovered that thing. Someone else discovered it way long before I did. But part of me just discovered it, you know, and it's that thing when it goes away and comes at you at the same time, in between, zoom pop or something. There must be some sort of good word for it. I enjoyed that in this picture. That's my critique.
Well, I don't want to ramble on about it. I don't know what to even ask you. Maybe he's doing experiments now.
Ambience. Film ambience.
Worldizing.
Yeah, worldizing.
Once I visited you on your ranch, and you had, I believe you had speakers in a rowboat out on your lake.
Oh yeah.
And you were re-recording from.
No, we recorded in the barn. We had the speakers in the barn and the house.
But you were using the
lake
water
is in
as
between,
a
and we were in the lake. we were listening and to the stereo image from in the lake, balancing out the barn and the house. And that's what we were doing. You had to have been there. Much more entertaining than this story about to have been there, actually.
Wish I was here.
Yeah, I wish I was here too.
I thought a little bit about, there's a film I love of Robert Frank's Cocksucker Blues of the Stones on tour in the early 70s. That's also very, I don't like using these kind of words like honest, you know, but there's something very unfiltered about Muddy Track and also that film of Robert's that I really appreciate.
Cool.
I think they're both really great
That's
rock
cool.
and roll movies, you know?
Well, there's so much shit goes on behind that happens when people are just, you know, being themselves, and we actually care about what we're doing, so we talk about it, and it's constantly, that's the part of it that's fun, more fun than the playing, and more fun than, you can tell that last song, Out of the Blue, I was performing. It wasn't like the rest of it when you were on stage. That was like the difference between somebody who's done a song many times and somebody who's just doing it for the first time or trying to make it happen. And and so the movie showed that, and I enjoyed that you could tell the difference between being on stage with the band and not giving a shit at all about the audience, as opposed to standing there and trying to sing the song to the audience and also knowing, well, I've sung this song, and what year is it? How many times have I sung this? And it just goes over in your head. It's two different things. One's performing, the other one is being. So it's like being in it. So watching that picture, especially the pans from the cars and in and outs on the rainy roads with the perspectives and everything, it was like going right back there and doing it again. It was great. I haven't seen it in a long time. So we turned up the bass about 1/3 of the way in it because it's very lo-fi. It's extremely lo-fi because the camera was a lo-fi camera, but it was a PAL camera, so we had to convert the lo-fi PAL to many letters. And then voila. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Muddy Track, voila. Yeah, I thought it was a double meaning too, Muddy Track, concerning these.
Yeah. It worked. I was feeling pretty good about thinking that name. I could even remember it when I heard it in the movie. I was thinking.
Well, I love Crazy Horse as people, as a band, of course, but as people, what a bunch of fuck-ups.
Yeah.
Such a good way.
Yeah.
Trying really hard, too. Trying hard.
I like when we are rehearsing Cortez and you say, yeah, we've been playing this song for 15 years. It's been working.
It works, Billy. It's real anyway. We had a good time, and it's nice to be here. It's funny when you see some of the other films too, because so much time has gone by in the scope of everything, and being like even with the next one that we're showing in a couple of theaters that's work in progress. It's like it's getting harder to look at me for me. I like looking at the old stuff, really. There's a personal side to this. It's a little bit weird, but it is a lot of fun. This is great fun. It's great to do this. We're so lucky, Jim. So lucky to have something to do like this. So many people don't have anything to do.
Are there questions that you guys have? No.
No? Okay.
I don't know, they do. They're shy.
All right.
Yes.
Where's Otto now?
Otto's back at the ranch, sequestered. Sequestered, awaiting fate, deciding where Otto will go.
I think it's really interesting that people spend so much time worrying about equipment and the quality of things. And the fact is, you use these things as a tool and you make something with them.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure even back then people would have said Otto is not professional material.
Not to Otto, though.
No. I wouldn't have said
No,
it.
I wouldn't have said it either.
But anyway, I love the quality. I love how it looks. So I just love it.
Yeah, and the gnarly sound from that, pinkish microphone sticking out of that little camera, with the chip, all the terrible sampling rates, inverted and interpolated, so that we can hear them today.
Did you
Real
cut a
mess.
version of it a bunch of years ago and then re-edit it recently?
This
or?
is a original edit, hasn't been changed. This was done back then. 3 people worked on it. It was great fun editing it. Yes, sir.
Any attempts to get this on video? Because this came out in the heyday of VHS.
Isn't it VHS like what's happening?
There was a market for it, for anything. What was, why wasn't it released until now?
Good question. I have no answer for that. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea why it hasn't been released so far, or maybe even why it's going to be released. I think we have to let it go.
It's like sending it off to military school.
Yeah, go off. We can't do anything more with you here. Good luck. But it's a good question. I'm sorry we couldn't have given you a more detailed and thorough answer. Yes, sir.
Hi.
Condominium? Condominium. Let me work on that.
If you could follow any other band around and record what they do on tour, who would you want to choose? Anyone come to mind?
No.
I have a better question.
Okay.
Do you still record? Do you still rehearse in hotel rooms on the road with Crazy Horse when you guys play?
When we play, we rehearse wherever we are. We never stop. We have to. You heard us, right? It's very serious shit. Yes, sir.
Neil, with authors, when they're writing a book, there's the book they intend to make, and then there's the book they wind up making. So when you did this movie, or even any of the others, what do you think is the most important thing that you thought you were going to do, and then when you wound up looking at the almost finished product, what you wound up with?
Well, in all the cases, I thought I was going to make a great movie. And then when I saw what I really had, it was kind of, I had different reactions to it. It kept changing. But I'm not trying to be clever. I'm just trying to keep talking here on my feet. I don't know. I can't answer it. I always try to do the same thing. I'm sure what Jim does too is you try to find an idea that matters, so it's worth it, because it costs a little bit of money to do these things, even though some of them look like you didn't spend any money on them at all. It takes a lot of time and work and investment of resources to make it happen. So but this movie, I decided to make it out there while I was on the road, and it only took me, and I bought a couple of these cameras and used one myself, shot really a lot, and then gave one to David Briggs, who is my producer and my best friend, and they were identical, the 2 cameras. So it gave a certain look to a certain point of view, and then I just started doing that, and we started just. That's all we did, and just trying to capture the inside of the tour from the inside out, complete with a lot of the the stupid things like not being able to play because they canceled our show because we didn't sell any tickets because nobody even knew who we were. That was interesting. I thought people would be interested to see that part of it. And when that started happening, I thought, well, we might have something here worth shooting, because it's not something you usually see. And we were having a good time playing in kind of a bad time in the business world, but it didn't really matter. They were just sort of coming together and banging against each other, and that's a good thing.
It's a good question, because it occurred to me while watching Muddy Track again tonight that Otto doesn't make any mistakes. Like, it's not even a question. You can't make a mistake. You know, it's not like there's a game plan, and so Otto is there, and I thought it was very liberating to realize mistakes aren't really possible while making this film.
No, Otto could do whatever he wanted to do and did, and it was cool that everybody got used to having Otto along. So Otto was not intimidating, and so people forgot Otto was there. Otto became part of us, and everybody was part of it, and we just sit Otto down somewhere and he behaved himself. You know, we talked and it just kept on. Most of the time, just kept on recording. So because of that, it was liberating because everybody accepted Otto. It wasn't like Otto came with some guy that we didn't know.
But I love that. I know you love form because of your music, but I also love how you're not restricted. I remember when we were going to make Year of the Horse, and I was talking to you on the phone, and I said, Neil, how long of a film should we imagine? And there was a pause, and you said, hey man, when I'm writing a song, I don't think about how long it's going to be. We'll just start shooting it and see what we get. And that was really freeing for me because I've, planned things out in my films, and this is a beautiful example of that. And its final form is itself. It is what it is. I don't know.
Well, thanks. I enjoy being able to do this because I never had to answer any questions. I just let people ask questions, and then I'd cut away to something else because that was my experience. It was not my answer. It didn't make any difference. The questions they didn't mean anything. So compared to what was going on, particularly, they just seemed to be from somewhere else. So it was great to just get the questions and just let the questions be their own answers. And that was, to me, that was a point of view from my way of looking at the tour, was what I remembered about all the interviews is the questions. And some of them were, they were just, well, you saw them. I don't know what to say about them. Nice people, doing their job. Maybe some of them corporate people, Hello, yes.